What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video we'll be solving these exponential equations. Basically we'll be solving for x. As you can see, we have 6 equations here. We have the first one there till to number 6 there. Now if you know how to solve this type of equations, you can pause the video, try to solve all these equations, and let's see if your answers are going to be the same as the one that we're going to get on this video. But as you can see, number 6 is one of the equation that is a bit complex, so stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to solve each and every one of these equations. So we're going to start with number 1, and then we do number 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a sequence order. All right guys, here is our question 1. As you can see, we have 2 to the power of x is equaling to 8. Now, the x that we are looking for, or that we are trying to solve, is actually an exponent. Now, when it's like this, we need to make sure that the bases are the same. Just in case you don't know what the base is and what the exponent is, I've made a video explaining the difference between the base and the exponent. So I will leave that video on the description. Go to the description and click on that link, and also it explains the laws that we're going to use on this video. So the very same video is going to pop up on the top right of the video that you're watching then. All right guys, we need to break this 8 in terms of the prime number of 2 there. Just in case you don't know what is a prime number, it's actually a number that can only be divided by itself and 1 without leaving a remainder. Now on this question that you see here, 2 is actually the prime number that we want to break this 8 in terms of. So there are 2 methods that you can use to break this 8 here. One of the methods is as follows. You can say 8 divided by 2, since this 2 is our prime number. So this is going to give you 4. Meaning now, when you break it, you can say 4 multiplied by 2. We know this is going to give us 8. But again, we also need to break this 4 in terms of 2. We can do similar to what we did with 8 here. We can say 4 divided by 2, and this is going to give us 2. Meaning if you say 2 multiplied by 2, this is going to give us 4. So if you continue here, instead of writing 4, we can write 2 multiplied by 2. Let's not forget this 2 here multiplied by 2. And all this is going to be equaling to 8. So going back to our exponents, it means that we can write this in terms of 2 to the power of 3. This exponent of 3, it means that the 2 multiply itself 3 times. As you can see, we have this 2 there, we have that 2 there, we have that 2 there. They are 3. When they multiply each other, they're going to give you 8. This is one of the methods that you can use to actually break the number, in this case, this 8 in terms of 2, because 2 is our prime number. Now, if you don't want to use this method, the other method, you can use a calculator. Now, when you use a calculator, you take your calculator, you insert the number 8 there, and then you press the equaling sign button there. Now, the next step, you press the button shift on your calculator there. The last step, you press the button effect on your calculator there. This will give you 2 to the power of 3. As you can see, this 2 method will break this 8 in terms of our prime number here, which is the same base as the number on your left hand side. If you continue here, you're going to write 2 to the power of x, which is equaling to 2 to the power of 3. Remember, we just explained that 2 to the power of 3 is the same as 8. Since the bases are the same, we can equate the exponent. We can say x is equaling to 3. Guys, do not forget, whenever you solve for x, you try by all means to make sure that the bases of these numbers here are the same. As you can see, on the left hand side, the base is 2, and the base on the right hand side is 8. So we had to break this in terms of this base here, which is in this case a prime number. All right, I hope you understood this, because as we continue solving other equations, we're going to apply this information that I just showed you. So we are done with the first one. Let's do the second equation. Here is our equation 2 then. Now, let's look at it. We have 3 to the power of x is equaling to 1 over 27. Now, this here, we have the prime number, which is 3 here as our base to the power of x. And on our right hand side, we have 1 over 27. This 27 here, we also need to break it in terms of our prime number there. All right, let's do it. So we have 3 to the power of x, 1 over. Now we know that 27 is the same as 3 to the power of 3. Remember, you can use the method on the calculator. When you insert 27, you press shift, then you press the button effect. That will give you 3 to the power of 3. Right, so we can write it as 3 to the power of 3. But when you look at this, this is one of the laws that we did on one of our previous video on exponent. The name of the law is negative exponent law. On our left hand side, we're still going to have 3 to the power of x. But on our right hand side, we apply that law. So we're going to have 3 to the power of negative 3 like that. Since our base are the same, which are 3 and 3, we can equate the exponent. We can say x is equal to negative 3. Guys, the law that we applied here is known as the negative exponent rule. You can go to the video, the icon on the top right there has that video, and I explain this law further. I hope you understood this, guys. Really, it was not difficult. Now let's go and do equation 3. All right, guys, here is the equation 3 here. Now let's look on our left hand side. The base here is 8, and on our right hand side the base is 0.5. Now we need to break these base so that they have the same base, both of them. Now the prime number here, if you can look here, is going to be 2. Remember, you can use the method on the left hand side where you insert 8 on your calculator, then you press equaling sign, then you press shift, then the last step you press the weight effect. Now we know that 8 is the same as 2 to the power of 3 there. But let us not forget, outside the bracket we have this exponent here, which is 2x minus 3. So you're going to write 2x minus 3 there. Now let's look at the right hand side here. Inside the bracket we have 0.5. Guys, 0.5 is the same as 1 over 2, which is half. So you can write it as 1 over 2. There we go. But outside the bracket we have the exponent of negative 3 there. All right, on the left hand side I would like to just rewrite everything as it is for now, because I want to solve the right hand side very quickly. Now the right hand side, as you can see, we have 1 over 2 inside the bracket. We can apply the negative exponent rule. Remember, the negative exponent rule, guys, is as follows. You can write it like this, right? So you can also reverse this. So if you reverse this, we can write this as 2 to the power of negative 1. Then outside, let us not forget, we have negative 3 there, because on this step here the base was 1 over 2, hence we did this then, right? So since the base are the same, now we can apply the next following law there, which is power of a power rule or law. Now the power of a power law, it means that the exponent inside the bracket will multiply the exponent outside the bracket. So let's do it. On the left hand side here, we're going to have 2 to the power of 3 multiplied by 2x minus 3 multiplied by 3. There we go, which is going to be equaling to, on the right hand side, we're going to have 2 to the power of 1 multiplied by negative 3. Now, if you continue here, this 2 is going to give us 2 to the power of 6x minus 9. All this is equaling to, now on the right hand side, we have the base, which is 2, but the exponent here with negative 1 multiplied by negative 3, that is going to give us positive 3. Right, so let me erase this so that we can continue on the other side. Right, when you continue here, since the base are the same, we have 2 and 2 there, we equate the exponents. Now the exponents here, we have 6x minus 9 on the left hand side. On the right hand side, which is equaling to exponent 3 there. So we're going to solve for x. Now what you're going to do is we're going to transpose this negative 9 to the right hand side. We'll be left with 6x. And on the right hand side, we're going to have 3 plus 9, because when it goes to the other side, the sign changes here. Now we have 6x is equaling to 12. And then we divide by 6 throughout them. and then we have x, and then on the right hand side we know that 12 divided by 6 is going to give us 2. So x is equaling to 2. As you can see, guys, we applied all the information that we talked about earlier, and also the laws that we did on the previous video, which is on the description, just in case you didn't understand. So we are done with equation 3. Let's do equation 4. All right, guys, let's look at equation 4 then. Now we have this following equation here. As you can see, it has three terms here, guys. We have 3 to the power of x plus 1 minus 10 multiplied by 3 to the power of x minus 1 plus 3. All this is equaling to 0. Now, these three that you see here, they are the bases, guys. And in this negative 10 here, it's multiplying with the 3 that has an exponent of x minus 1. So what we need to do here, guys, we need to apply the rule known as the product of powers. So the step that we must take here is to break this or expand them. We can write the first term in this manner. We can say 3 to the power of x multiplied by 3 to the power of 1. Remember, this is a law known as product of powers rule, right? Minus. So this 10 here, we're just going to write it as it is, but we also are going to separate this or expand this 3 here. We can write as 3 to the power of x multiplied by 3 to the power of negative 1 plus 3. All this is equaling to 0. Right. So here, guys, what we can do, we can transpose this 3 to the right hand side. So when you do that, we're going to be left with 3 to the power of x multiplied by 3 minus 10 multiplied by 3 to the power of x multiplied by, remember, this 3 here to the power of negative 1, we can apply the law of negative exponent, which is the same as 1 over 3. And then this side now we're going to be left with negative 3. If this 3 goes to the right hand side, it changes its sign, becomes negative. Right. So when you look on the left hand side here, we have two terms here, and we do have a common factor. We have 3 to the power of x and also another 3 to the power of x there. So if we take out the common factor, which is 3 to the power of x, we're going to be left with 3 on this term here. And on the other term, we're going to be left with negative 10 multiplied by 1 over 3. So we can say negative 10 divided by 3. There we go. All this is equaling to negative 3. Now, when you continue here, we're going to have 3 to the power of x. Now, if you put everything inside the bracket, then on the calculator, we'll have negative 1 over 3 then, equaling to negative 3. There we go. But what we want here is to be left with only 3 to the power of x on the left hand side. So we have to divide by this negative 1 over 3, both sides, guys. Negative 1 over 3. If we do that, they're going to divide each other. You're going to be left with only 3 to the power of x there. And then this side here, you're going to be left with positive 9. But as you can see, we have different bases here. On the left hand side, the base is 3. On the right hand side, the base is 9. So we need to change this 9 in terms of 3. So we know that we can write this 9 as 3 to the power of 2. So we can say 3 to the power of x is equaling to 3 to the power of 2. We know that this is 9. So since the bases are the same, the exponent, they will equate each other. So x is going to be equaling to 2. Guys, this is how you do this one here. It was a bit long and a bit complex. It needed you guys to pay attention. Just in case you didn't understand it, go back to the point where you didn't understand, rewatch it. And if you have a question, you can leave a question on the comment section. Guys, if this video so far is helping you to understand how to solve the exponential equation, especially solving for x, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. You can always support our channel by hitting the super thanks button. But if you can't do that, a like, a comment, a subscription, and also a share of this video would be highly appreciated. All right, we are done with equation 4. Let's do equation 5. All right, guys, let's look at equation 5 here. Now, equation 5, we have on the left hand side the base of 3, which has an exponent of a trinomial. The exponent is x squared plus 5x plus 6. So this base is equaling to 1. Again, guys, you cannot solve for x if the bases are not the same. Now here you need to apply a special rule here, or law, which is known as the zero exponent rule. It goes like this. Let me first rewrite the left hand side as it is. We're going to write 3 to the power of x squared plus 5x plus 6. This is equaling to 3 to the power of 0. Remember, guys, this law states that anything to the power of 0 is equaling to 1. So since we want to have the same base on the left hand side and the right hand side, we can write it in this manner. Now, since the bases are the same, we can equate the exponent. So we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. All this is equaling to 0. This needs us to factorize. So let's factorize. Remember, when we factorize, we need to find the factors of x squared. So we can say x and x, they are the factors of x squared. Now, since everything is positive inside the bracket, it's going to be positive. Now, we need to find the factors of 6 that when we add them, they're going to give us 5. It's going to be 2 and 3. So when we solve further, we know that x is going to be negative 3 and x is going to be negative 2. Guys, this is it. This was very simple, straightforward, guys. Just in case you got confused, you can go to the point where you got confused, click on that point, rewatch it. So guys, if you didn't understand this law, I made a video where I explain all these laws that I'm applying here on this video. Go to the description, click on that link, and then watch the video in full. Right, we are done with equation 5. Let's do equation 6. All right, guys, here is our equation 6. Now this equation here, guys, I hope you won't confuse it with equation 4. We have to apply the product of a power rule here. So how are we going to do it? On the first term there, guys, we have 3 to the power of 2x plus 1. So when you apply the product of power rule, this is how we're going to do it. It's going to be 3 to the power of 2x multiplied by a 3 to the power of 1. So this is the same as that one on the equation then. Minus 12 multiplied by 3 to the power of x. All this is equal to minus 9. Guys, we are not done. We need to reapply it on this 3 to the power of 2x again, because there is no common factor here, guys, right? So when we apply the power of a product rule again on this 3 to the power of 2x, it's going to be 3 to the power of x multiplied by 3 to the power of x. Remember, when the bases are the same, the exponent will add there. So it's going to be x plus x. That is going to give you 2x there. But let's not forget, we still have 3 to the power of 1 there, minus 12 multiplied by 3 to the power of x. All this is equal to negative 9. Now, there is this method we call the K method rule. So we can say, let 3 to the power of x equaling to k. Basically, what we mean here is wherever there is 3 to the power of x, we substitute with k there. So let's look at this equation here. Wherever there is 3 to the power of x, we're just going to put k there, multiplied by another k, multiplied by 3 to the power of 1, minus 12. Now, let's not forget this is also k as well, because it's 3 to the power of x. All this is equaling to negative 9. There we go. Now I'm going to rewrite it on top there. If you can see the first term here, we have 3, which is the 3 to the power of 1. And we also have k multiplied by k. That is going to give us k squared. There we go. Minus 12k. So we can transpose this 9 to the left hand side. It's going to become positive 9. All this is equaling to 0. Now, if you can look at this here, this becomes a trinomial. But again, we have a common factor here. We can divide by our common factor, which is 3. So if we divide by 3 here, on the first term, 3 on the second term, 3 on the third term, and also 3 on the right-hand side. So we're going to be left with k squared minus 4k plus 3. There we go. So our answer here is going to be 0. So if we divide 0 with anything, the answer there is going to be 0. Right, we have to factorize here, guys. So let's factorize. Now, when you factorize, remember, we need to find the factors of k here. So k squared, the factors of k squared is k and k. But then the factors of 3, when you add them, they give you 4 here. Since we have negative, positive, so inside the bracket, it's going to be negative, negative. So it's going to be 1 and 3 there. So we can say k is equaling to positive 1 and k is equaling to positive 3. But let us not forget that k is actually equaling to 3 to the power of x. So we need to resubstitute k and write 3 to the power of x is equaling to 1 and 3 to the power of x is equaling to 3. Right. But we are solving for x. We are not actually solving for k, guys. So let me create a little bit of space here to complete this question here. We need to change the base on this one here. We can say 3 to the power of x is equaling to 3 to the power of 0. Remember the law where we say 0 exponent rule. So anything to the power of 0 is equaling to 1. So we can change this to have the same base by putting the exponent of 1 there. Right, the other one we are fine. It's going to be 3 to the power of x is equaling to 3 to the power of 1. Since the bases are the same, we can equate the exponent. So for this one here, x is equaling to 0. And then for the other one, x is equaling to 1. Guys, I hope you managed to understand this one. Really, it was not that difficult, but it's easy to confuse it with our equation 4 that we did earlier on, where we took out the common factor of the base with an x there. But this one here, guys, you cannot take out the common factor here, guys. So be very, very careful. I hope you guys managed to understand this. If really you managed to understand this, or this video helped you to understand how to solve for x on an exponential equation, you can like, share, comment, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. If you want to support the channel, you can always like the super thanks button. That will be highly appreciated. Alright, guys, if you didn't understand at some point, go to that point and rewatch. If that doesn't help, you can always leave a comment as well. I'll try to answer you to my level best. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, cheers.